Hey everyone, welcome to the new moon in sidereal Cancer intention setting practice for July 30th 2019. Give me just a moment to refresh my browser here. I'm going to pull up the live stream so that I can catch any comments or questions as they come through, and I hope to God I'm actually live in the Sidereal Insights Astrology Facebook group. Oh look, there I am. I happen to be live in the right place. That's awesome. And I'm going to do a thing real quick before we get too started. I'm going to see if I can share this broadcast in another group. So bear with me. I don't know if I can. I cannot. Okay, so never mind. It was a nice thought that I might try, but I'm not able to share this in the Project Ruby group. Sorry, Rubies. I will drop a link to the replay once it's all done and posted to the website. But thanks everyone for joining me. Let's talk about what we're going to talk about tonight. So I'm Phaedra, for those of you who might be new to the broadcast. I'm the artist and astrologer of Mystick, Physick, Astrology, and I use Western sidereal astrology in my practice. So it's a Western approach, but I use the Fagan-Bradley zodiac. And really, the reason why I do what I do is to help you reconnect with your soul purpose, help you remember why you came into this life to begin with. Oftentimes, by the time we hit adulthood, we've completely forgotten through the demands of life what it is we really came for. And so my hope is to help guide you back to what that purpose was when you came. And with the broadcast, really the point is to help you find ways that you can use your transits with intention. So that you can respond to them rather than react to them. Really, the idea of consciously using the energy of the transits to affect your life in a positive way. And so for this broadcast, we're going to use the Fagan-Bradley zodiac. If you need to look up your chart using that zodiac, I have a calculator on the website that you can use for free, and I'm going to drop a link to it right there. That way you'll have it. Okay. And so tonight, what we're going to do with this intention setting, we're going to explore the Cancer themes of home, the mother, emotional security. We're going to explore why nurturing and self-care are so important. And we're going to set intentions for tapping into this new moon so that you can manifest greater comfort and well-being in your life. And really that's the idea, is we want to help you, guide you towards Cancerian ideas of comfort, of emotional well-being, of stability and security, and having a strong foundation to build the rest of your life on. And that starts in the home, the place where I would say you spend the most time. But if you live in Western society, and even not in Western society, maybe you don't spend as much time in your home as outside of it, but everything that you do outside of your home is built on what goes on inside the home. So regardless of how much time you might spend in your home, I think that it's the foundational beginning of building your life. And so it's important to have a strong foundation there. Now, our new moon is actually new tomorrow. We're doing this just a day ahead so that our followers on the other side of the world who live in the future compared to where I live can take advantage of the practice when it's the new moon for them. And this happens to be a black moon. We'll talk a little bit later in the broadcast about what that actually means. What the heck is a black moon? But what I want to encourage you to do is to grab a pen or pencil and a piece of paper, because you're going to be writing out your intentions for the new moon on your paper. You're going to want to do it in alignment with your sidereal natal chart, and we'll talk about that a little bit more too. So be sure that you have those placements. What we'll do first off, in the first part of the broadcast, we'll go into this particular new moon specifically and what we need to know about it. What are the energies of it? What kind of outcome might we be able to expect from it? And then in part 2 of our broadcast, we'll talk about what house this is falling in for each of you by your sidereal rising sign, and what the themes of each of those houses are. And that way, if you need a refresher, for those of you who might be more experienced with astrology, you might already know the themes of the houses really well. Feel free to take a break during the middle part of the broadcast if you need to refresh your drink or get a snack, take a bathroom break. Go ahead and do that. I'll recap for folks who might need that information. And then in the third part of our broadcast, what we'll do is we'll explore Cancer themes and the Cancer archetype in more depth, and I will go into some prompts that you can use for working with to set your intention tonight. So let's talk first of all about this new moon in Cancer. It is a black moon. A black moon is the new moon equivalent of a blue moon. Everyone knows that a blue moon is when you have a second full moon in a month, in a calendar month. Well, a black moon is when you have a second new moon in a calendar month, and that's what we happen to have this month. Our first new moon this month was July 2nd. We had a new moon solar eclipse in Gemini, and now on the 31st at month end we're going to have a new moon, not an eclipse, just a normal old new moon in Cancer. So this is the third lunation of the month. That makes it a busy month when we're talking about the moon. It's really quite an unpredictable new moon in several ways. I talked about this a little bit on the last Sidereal Insights Astro Update. This new moon is coming just as Mercury stations direct, and that's going to flavor how we experience the new moon. You can expect Mercury to be behaving really erratically today, tomorrow, even the 1st of August. Because he's stationary, and stationary planets are much stronger. They're very influential, and they behave a lot more erratically than they might normally behave because they're in the process of shifting direction. Okay, but it's this narrow window of time where Mercury visually, this is not true when we're talking about actual physics and planetary motion, but visually Mercury appears to be standing still. And because he spends so much time in a particular degree of the ecliptic, that he has a stronger influence because of that. Okay, now Mercury is stationing direct opposite of Pluto in Sagittarius. Okay, and so what that's going to do is bring Pluto's transformative influence to bear on Mercury's behavior. Okay, so for anyone who's using Mercury's retrograde to do revision or to rework past efforts, or going back to revisit things that you may already have started, you could expect this new moon to start showing signs of bearing fruit in that regard. Now, it's probably not the right verbiage to use because we typically talk about bearing fruit at the full moon. But with Mercury being stationary opposite Pluto, that transformative effect of Pluto kicks in. And so that's where you could start to see change in terms of the outcome, or change in terms of the direction forward regarding Mercury ruled activities. Okay, so on top of that, the other way that this particular new moon becomes quite unpredictable is that the new moon itself is square to Uranus, and we all know Uranus is the planet of surprises, is the planet of sudden events. And this is made even more significant because the moon rules, of course, the lunation from her home sign of Cancer. And so this new moon is going to have that added unpredictable outcome because of Uranus's influence as well. So events that take place may be quite unpredictable, but then the outcome of the new moon, whatever you begin under this new moon, could be unpredictable as well. This new moon also, for some viewers, and this is where you're really going to want to have a look at your sidereal natal chart using the Fagan-Bradley system, this new moon can also reactivate the July 2nd eclipse degree for some viewers and for some readers of the horoscope. So take a look at your sidereal natal chart if you have a planet or personal point at 15 or 16 degrees of an air or fire sign. So this is Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius. If you have a planet or personal point at 15 or 16 degrees of one of those signs, then the July 2nd eclipse affected you personally in some way, and you may be receiving news related to that, either coming up August 31st, which is tomorrow, the day of the new moon, or August 2nd. Watch those days and the days near those days, okay? Because that can, you may see additional eclipse news during those days. So there's about 3 or 4 different layers of unpredictability to this new moon. and some of it depending on whether or not you're directly impacted by the July eclipse season. And so that's really what you want to know, that all told, this really spells an unpredictable new moon and an unexpected outcome for any endeavor that you might start right now. That's not necessarily a bad thing. Where it can get kind of hairy is that we might see some emotional volatility being part of the picture here, right? With Venus widely conjunct the moon, she's a couple of degrees off of the moon. She's square Uranus herself. That's helpful because we consider Venus to be the lesser benefic, right? So she can have a positive influence even during challenging aspects. And so there's a real opportunity here for unexpected pleasure and delight, not only in the events that transpire in the next couple of days, but also related to the outcome of whatever it is you start during this new moon. Okay, so if you have the opportunity to do something fun and enjoyable, if you have a spontaneous invitation come up or the urge to be spontaneous and do something fun, go for it. Especially if an opportunity arrives out of the blue, consider taking advantage, because you never know what that opportunity might hold for you. And initiations that you make now in the wake of this new moon could be really, truly visionary and bring radical or cutting edge results. This is something else we talked about during the last Astro update. But you may want to give the new moon itself a few days to reveal her surprises before you take concrete action towards whatever initiation you have planned. And I say that partly because some of you may be receiving news related to the eclipse, and you'd want to have that before you take action, before you make a decision. But also because we have Mercury behaving kind of erratically and unpredictably, and if you give the new moon a few days for Mercury's station to play out, you'll be less likely to encounter unexpected upsets related to Mercury ruled activities like travel or communication or commerce or that sort of thing. Okay? So what we'll do at this point is we'll move on to the second part of the broadcast. We'll get into the house that this new moon is taking place in for each of you according to your sidereal rising sign, if you're ready.